the day. Welcome to another show. Chat, this one is going to be another one where it's like, listen, all right, as the noose begins to tighten up on this clown, okay, there's another noose that's spindling up, okay? Or is that how nooses work? I don't know. Do you spindle it or not? I don't know. In any case, it's winding up and it's coming for the Tate brothers, okay? And here's the thing. We talked about this because this is a very little known thing that we focused on, right? Because everyone has been focused on the indictment. Duke, he's going down. They got shopping carts filled with his case files, right? Yes. However, there's another group of individuals that have a vested interest in taking out the Tate brothers, right? Because, they know a little too much about certain things, right? So they have a vested interest in this case, okay? Because a lot of it, has to do with them. And not only that, what Dykot is doing right now is they're going through and finding certain links within a Tate crime organization, right? Because that's what you do when you set up a RICO. You start looking at the financials, then you start looking at where these OnlyFans or webcamming money or proceeds are being transferred to, and how are they getting broken up or cut up, right? They're even trying to figure out, well, hey, listen, them cars, those cars, how did you pay for these cars, these Bugattis, your Bugatti, my Bugatti, it's the state's Bugattis now. But how did you pay for it, right? So when they're looking into illegal activities, they find money laundering, they find tax evasion. Okay, they're going to say, well, where's my cut going to? And they're going to start looking for the money man. That's right. They're going to look for the money man because, again, that's listen, once they get into they expose you for the racketeering, then they start going into other things, right? And they found the money man. Now, what is this money man? What's the risk of finding the money man? Well, you then get to find out how the money comes from all of these proceeds, these illegal proceeds, and then they get washed in and then get cleaned out and pushed out into the Tate's bank account, right? So they're going to figure out where and how the money is coming in. Now, the obvious way we know how the Tates make money is through the way they're being indicted for right now, which is the trafficking and the webcamming, right? And including a bunch of other heinous shit like the grapes and the minors, right? The minor trafficking, what a crazy individual, right? So yes, among the litany of things that he's being indicted for, okay? There are other parts to how the Tates make money, right? Now, I'm not even talking about the courses. I'm talking about the casinos, right? The casinos that were partially or wholly franchised by the Romanian mafia, right? Now, here's the thing. Some of y'all may ask yourself, what business is someone like Andrew Tate doing dealing with mobsters, like hardened gangsters, right? And I didn't know this. I didn't know he was actually dealing with these thugs, right? It wasn't until we saw the evidence and they were doing a deep dive and investigating him. I realized this guy actually has mob ties. So it is what it is. But it's how he got to those mob ties that are very interesting thing right now, right? He didn't have to do it, but he wanted to, right? So he decided that he wanted to go ahead and franchise the mob-owned mafia gambling casino chain, okay, and then give them proceeds and whatnot, essentially get into business with them. Why did he do that? I don't know. If he wanted to stay clean, he could have just kept that legitimate, right? But decided to get in business with gangsters and mafiosis, right? So, again, he does all that, and over time, these mobsters start to think, well, this guy might be a liability than a help, because what is the main thing that mobsters don't want you doing when you become part of their organization? I mean, the obvious thing is they obviously don't want you blabbing your mouth, right? They definitely don't want you blabbing about all of the criminal activities getting yourself involved in, right? That's the last thing that they want to do. Even though the criminal activities you're involved in isn't directly pertaining to them and what they got going on, just the casino part, right? It could still spill over and go over to them, right? So then they started distancing themselves because you talk too much, you're self-snitching, right? And then when the indictment officially hits, they're gone, right? Even what you guys got to understand, the door for Tate brothers got picked up throughout what do you call it, the whole sting that was happening too, right? They also got raided. The brothers, one of the brothers got away. I think the other one just it was a while ago, but he ended up I think bailing out and then fleeing. So the mobsters were, I mean, they were powerful enough to get the fuck out of there. They're done, right? But again, they got rounded up and all that stuff, and it was also a close call, right? And again, as Tate's trial has been moving on, and Tate has been going on his media spin to talk about the Matrix and get you tards to focus on anything else other than the bullshit he's facing, right? So as he's been doing all that, we have not been focusing on the hidden hand that also has a vested interest in seeing Tate, go the Epstein route, right? They have the vested interest in seeing that because, he was a part of the organization and he knows or may know a little too much, right? So recently there was a letter, that came out, and essentially it was a letter from the mob bosses themselves, right? At least one of them anyways, one of the top bosses' brother. And they basically outlined, hey, we got nothing to do with the Tate Bros. We don't listen. We had a little business with them, which they admitted to. So they admitted to the little, casino business. They're downplaying it, right? So they said, but we're no longer in business with them, right? We're not. We had nothing to do with this, right? And it makes sense because this guy's charges are heating up. Right now, all of a sudden, you're dealing with 15-year-olds. You're trafficking them, right? That's just not a good look. All right, no gangster want to be associated with that, even though I don't think gangsters are what you want to be associated with anyways. Just saying, it's probably good for your health, okay? But anyways, right? So again, they're separating. They're saying no, we're done. But who are these gangsters, and what role did they play in the Tate organization? Like, how did they even come to be part of this? Well, that question was massively broken down by T-Pal's channel, and shout out the brother, all right, because he broke it down. It's kind of like one of those things where he's looking at pictures on Facebook and all that shit, and he's making the connections. He's saying, yeah, that guy is the captain of that crew, and that crew was run under this guy, and these are the people. Like, it was detailed. I loved every minute of it. I was like, yo, this shit is hilarious, because and the more he was pointing out shit about these gangsters and like the captains of the gang of the group, and the what was it? I don't know how do you call it. So the captain, then you got or squad captain or crew captain. I don't know how they're doing the shit, right? But you got the captains and the other captain that's connected to the boss, right? These are some serious dudes. These are some serious freaking dudes. And it's like, it makes no sense why someone like Tate would willingly move himself to Romania just to get himself ingratiated with people who would knock his neck off at any given moment if they find it necessary, right? Like, again, it was just crazy seeing these dudes and what the fuck they're doing and why they're part of the Tate organization. We're going to cover all of that and more. But before we get into that, guys, don't forget to sponsor the show. And how do you do that? It's real simple. It's real simple, okay? All you got to do is just hit the like button at the bottom of the screen. And congratulations, you're a sponsor of the show. So shout out to you guys. Let's go ahead and get to this video, because I think it was, listen, very well done, very well broken down. If you guys haven't seen it yet, you can thank me now, because it's awesome. It's hilarious. All right, exactly what we have been talking about. Let's get it.
Lawyer of the DMS Romanian Mafia has confirmed that the crime family has officially cut ties with the Tate brothers. In this video, we're going to be exploring the specific members of the crime family that the Tates were involved in. We're going to be exploring the business relationship they had and why their business relationship ultimately soured, what went wrong, and where are they now. So we're going to be doing an intense deep dive in this video, more detail than has ever been unveiled here on YouTube. I did like a week's worth of research for this, so I hope you enjoy, and we're going to be starting the deep dive.
The first thing is I own some casinos in Romania.
Fantastic.
The story of how I opened them is long, but I'll make it very, very short. There was a guy who owns 400 casinos, 3 brothers, mafia guys. They own 400 casinos throughout Eastern Europe. I came up to him and said, look, I want to do a franchise with you. They said, we're not interested in franchises. We have enough money. We just open them ourselves. We turn over 10 million euros a day. What do I need to franchise? Eventually, I came up with a plan. I said, look, how about this? I'll open up your locations directly next to your biggest competitor. So I'll go to war for you next to the competitor. Worst case, the location doesn't pay any money, but at least it takes money from your competitor. I'll give you a percentage of turnover. So even if it doesn't make profit, you make money. I'll take all the financial risk.
Okay, so our deep dive begins with a re-upload from a Tate Confidential episode where Andrew and Tristan actually visit one of their casinos. Now, they claim to have several casinos. It doesn't really actually matter for this video because we only need one casino. We need to find one casino, and then we need to find who works there and how they work there and some details about the casino, and that will open up the doors for us to continue this investigation.
You only need to slip up once as a criminal and you're done. That's it. Right? Cops, they can mess up a case. They can go back and forth and screw things up. But all they need for you to do as a criminal, if they're hunting you, is for you to screw up. You really only got one or two chances, right? And it's a wrap, right? So again, it's the shit that he was talking on the internet, right? Even going back to what he was saying earlier, where Tate was over here talking about, oh well, I mean, I really wanted to be a part of the organization. The way he was even breaking this down, it's like he came to Romania and he wanted to be a fanboy of the mobs, right, or the mobsters, right? Look how in depth he went into talking about, well, listen, please let me open up a business. Let me join your crew. Please let me be part of your club. I want to be cool. I want to have mob ties. I want to be the cool internet gangster pimp on YouTube. Just let me have this once. He's like Tekashi 6ix9ine being a blood, right? Fake being a blood, right? Just to get the clout and the accolades, because he did use his mob ties as a way to garner more mystique, more clout, enigma, whatever you want to call it, right? So again, all of this went into building the aura that is or was Andrew Tate, right? So you can see how much he was begging the mobsters, please, 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 let me open up a casino. Let me open up your casino. And they said no. They rebuffed him. Right? They say, hey, yo, get out of here. Get out of here. I don't want you to open shit for me, right? Then he comes back and said, hey, listen. Okay. Listen, you don't even have to pay me. I will give you all of the profits, all right, of this casino. And better yet, I'm going to open up on my behalf, take on all of the risk, and go open up against your competitors and knock them out. Why? I don't know. I just really want to be part of your club. He goes, doesn't it take on that vibe? That's what it takes on to be like, you were so desperate to be part of a mob crew, right? You did all of this nonsense. I mean, again, when we talk about these guys being actual nerds, right, who are going through this whole fake it till you make it nonsense, that's essentially what he is, right? I mean, trying to be a gangster at that old of an age, it's cringy, right? Usually those gangsters are hardened gangsters from teenage years, okay? They've been living that life from teenage years. You going over there as a 37-year-old man willingly joining a mafia organization, it's like, you can't, I mean, this is stupid. It's just stupid, bro.
So our deep dive begins with a re-upload from a Tate Confidential episode where Andrew and Tristan actually visit one of their casinos. Now, they claim to have several casinos. It doesn't really actually matter for this video because we only need one casino. We need to find one casino, and then we need to find who works there and how they work there and some details about the casino, and that will open up the doors for us to continue this investigation. So luckily, I found one of their casinos in this video, and you can see Andrew and Tristan get out of the car here and take a look at the surroundings. We see a shop and go right here. This will be important later. Okay, we see they're on a street, obviously. We see a little bowl of olives. Again, this will be important later because we're going to find this exact location here in the video. We see a cross.
What is he wearing? I mean, I said, chat, what the fuck is he wearing? What is this? Hold on.
This will be important later because
what is this, bro?
We're going to find this exact location.
Oh my
here.
God, bro. And you know what's crazy? This guy can, like, they're able to locate this casino just based off of these promotional clips that he's putting out there, right? They're finding exactly what you are. Now, if a YouTuber could be looking at this and putting together the mob ties and mob connections, what do you think Dykot's building up against this clown? Huh? No, just what do you think? You think Dykot's not gonna go for the whole criminal racketeering mafia ties part? You think he's gonna leave that alone? No, they're gonna go after it because then if this is an opportunity to take down the biggest mob crew that's been running amok in Romania on innocent civilians for years, of course they'll have a chance to knock them off using Tate. So over time, you start to slowly see the vested interest a lot of these mob guys have in making sure Tate does not say too much.
Here in the video, we see a crosswalk here. Remember that? Okay, they get out of the car and then they start heading almost a little bit underground into a Las Vegas brand casino. Notice it actually has a pretty similar aesthetic to their house. They head inside and then notice the gold detailing and the color scheme, the LED lights. Again, this gold pattern is going to be important for later. And they start playing some games. And actually, this is the exact location of a photo that we're going to be talking about here in a second. So I actually found this exact location. Again, like I said, I've been doing a lot of research. And we see the same situation, the olives, the shop and go, the crosswalk, and then you kind of head a little bit underground and you see the casino right here. Now, this is in a small town. This is the location of the town. It is in a town called Dobresti, by the sound of it. It is permanently closed. As I mentioned, the relationship is no longer in effect between the Tates and the DMS family. But as we see here, we are able to find a lead from this information. So in the same casino in Dobresti, we see these three guys sitting at the slot machines with the caption that translates to "We are still working too." Okay, so why is this important? Clearly, this is the same casino. In fact, it actually looks like they're sitting right here, where is in the background in this video. If you take a look again at this picture. So they're sitting right in the same casino that Tate owns, and they're working there. And so clearly they're working for Tate in some capacity. Now, what they haven't disclosed here is that they're actually enforcers for Tate, kind of security. Now, they did a little bit of dirty business, which we're going to be talking about. Obviously, they're a crime family. So what they would actually do is they would wait for somebody to win a jackpot, and then they would go and they would blackmail them into giving back their money, or they would literally just beat them up. They would also beat up other people. Now, that
is dirty as fuck, bro. Like, who is desperate enough to want to be part of an organization where you just rip off just average people? And again, it's not saying, and even Tate said it himself, it's not like Eastern European Romania is doing well economically speaking. So a lot of these people who are just coming to their store and gambling and whatnot, they're just like regular folks who don't even have that much to begin with. So you partner up with gangsters who basically chill in your casino, wait till somebody wins something, and then they just go around extorting them. That's crazy. Like, yo, chat, that is crazy. This is your hero who runs shop, and you're just taking advantage of people, bro. That's crazy. Again, who wants to be part of these guys? That's crazy.
It's all alleged, but I'm going to be providing some evidence here in this video for all this stuff. So we see this guy, he's got this star tattoo. Now, in the Eastern mafias, that is usually a sign of a higher rank. In the Russian mafia, that means you kneel for nobody, and that means you're essentially a made man. Now, we see he's photographed with this guy here. Now, this guy appears to be like a captain in the family. Now, we know this because, firstly, he's got the star tattoos, which again signifies a certain rank.
Oh, they all look fucking like, when somebody takes a bunch of roids, but like their workout program isn't as intense, so they get big, but like there's just fat all over the place. That's what it looks like right now, right? But like, again, these look like some serious people. Like, this guy particularly, but he's the captain over here. But he running a crew too, right? So, this is, why would you want to associate with these people is what I mean. Like, you go to Romania to escape America, right? And all of its nonsense, apparently. And then you join a bunch of mobsters in Romania. That's real great.
And then also he is photographed several times with the boss of the family. So this is the boss of the family right here. Here's our guy from Facebook. Here he is again. Here's the boss. Here he is again. Here's the boss. Here's the boss. Here's our guy. Here's our guy. Here's the boss.
Bro, look how he's just mapping out all of these photos. Like, he's like, hey, this is where he is. There he is to the boss, right? And that guy looks like, I mean, he looks like a guy that runs a massive organization, crime organization. He looks like, if somebody say, hey, point to the guy who runs the crime family, I would say, yep, that's him right there. Officer, there he is, right? So again, he's pointing out, look how close this captain or whatever he is, look how close he is to the boss. I mean, damn, they eating good over here. But look, he's right there. There he is right there. All right, look at him right there. There he is right there. Right there. There he is right there. There's the boss. Well, where's the boss? No, the boss is right there. There he is right there. That's crazy, bro. So he's definitely a high up. I mean, it's like what you see in the movies or Sopranos or some shit. Like, they're just chilling like mob guys.
Here's the boss. Here's our guy. Okay, so this guy and the boss are very closely associated. And it appears that this guy is ranked a little bit beneath this guy. This guy appears to be like the captain of the family. Okay, so we see that this guy is clearly associated with the crime family. Now we have additional evidence for this because we actually literally see a photograph with a DMS tattoo on his hand. Here we see him with another guy. They both have.
They look like your standard movie bad guy henchman. Like, I mean, what the fuck? Like, it's just your stereotypical bad guy henchman in the movies. That's what they look like. Maybe that's on purpose. Maybe it's not. I don't know, bro. Like, this is crazy. Shout out to Brian, Scotty G.L. Harris with the 10, with the W. Shout out to you. Hey, great show today. Check out his channel too, by the way. Link it in the chat if you put that in the chat. Link your channel. But shout out to you. But yeah, look at this. Right? I mean, your stereotypical movie henchman. That's what these guys look like. That's hilarious, bro. I mean, it's hilarious, but it's kind of scary too, because they actually beat up innocent people. So, I mean, take it as you feel.
DMS tattoos. And here's the face shot, which clearly matches our guy, which we have been talking about so far in the video. So essentially, to establish what we have so far, we got a guy who is highly associated with the DMS crime family, a made member of the DMS crime family based on his star tattoo on the knee. And he is working and sitting directly in Tate's casino. So we know that this is our guy who is Tate's contact to the DMS crime family. Okay, so we've established that. We have some other.
Damn. Talk about damning evidence. You got the guy who's a captain or at least a squad leader of one of these crews. And there's these boys right there. He's chilling in your casino. He's right there. That's him. Like, again, if a guy on YouTube can figure this out, what do you think Dykot's putting together? So when people are crying, oh, if there was evidence, why is the case taking so long? What do you think they're doing? Right? So you're literally looking at the mafia's connect to Andrew Tate's organization. Now, let me ask you one question. Do you think these guys are going to be down to ride with the Tates, or are they willing to take the Tates out if the boss calls in? If the boss calls in a favor, who do you think these muscle heads right now are going to be loyal to? Tate, the guy whose casino they're sitting in right now, or the boss who actually owns the casino that they're sitting in right now? This is where the Tates. It doesn't make any sense when they make the moves that they make. You go to Romania, you're making money off of these other things, but yet you decide to venture into dealing with the mob. And you don't think they're going to have a problem with you talking? You can't trust nobody when you're in this old kind of world, bro.
Contact to the DMS crime family. Okay, so we've established that. We have some other photos from this captain of the family. He's actually very flashy on social media, posts a lot of selfies, not a lot of detail that you can glean, but it seems like he's living the high life. Actually kind of reminds me of Tate a little bit and some of the stuff that he posts. And
it honestly, chat, it honestly kind of makes sense that a lot of these mob guys will be flashy. I mean, that's the whole reason a lot of these guys, right? You make a lot of money, you put in the work in the streets, right? It's to show it off like this, right? So I'm not surprised a lot of these mob guys would be flashy with their stuff, right? You can find these guys all over social media. But what the problem is they're not actively grabbing governmental heat and putting on them, right? Look at these photos. It's just a guy who I've seen people who do normal shit that have photos like this on Instagram or Facebook or whatever the fuck it is. So if I'm looking at this, I see, somebody eating a burger there. He's next to a grill. You got all these. I'll think, okay, this guy, is just a guy that likes to take photos of his life, right? So I wouldn't think anything of it. But the difference between him and Tate is Tate goes online, takes photos like this, even worse, and then says, yeah, no, I'm a pimp, and I pimp women online. Oh, and here I got a course teaching other men how to pimp women online. He's extra about his crimes, right? So I highly doubt, even though this mobster is out here putting photos of himself, I highly doubt he's out there talking about mob business on social media. But the Tates are dumb enough to do that, right? Shout out to Great Bill with the membership. Great Bill again with the 5. Great Bill says, all these guys supporting these demons, FNF, DL, Saint, the Taters, it's over. No, we'll say, here's the thing. Saint the Sinners slowly separating, because again, I keep telling you guys, the red pill is going into 2 different directions, right? It's still going to be manosphere-ish, but it's 2 directions. One direction is the hardcore politics and, the weirdness that's getting all of it. And the other direction is going to be the guys who want to go back to talking about women instead of politics, right? So you're going to see this divergent happen. And the guys who are supporting Tate and whatnot, Tate is already grifted into the politics, okay? The Muslim, he's grifted into politics so heavy, the Muslims got a problem with it now, okay? So you could tell that everything I'm telling y'all is already happening, chat. It's already happening. So it's splitting off. The guys who joined the red pill to begin with, they want to talk about women, and now they're talking about politics and whatnot. They're not down for that, so they want to go back to talking about women, right? And the other guys like Myron and Tate and whatnot, they want to grift to the next thing. So it is what it is.
Places he visits and stuff like that. So a little bit about the boss of the family. We see him listed in the Romanian police records as being the organizer of the family. We also see his photograph right here. Now, this kind of leads us into his relationship with Andrew and Tristan.
This guy, look at, bro, chat. Look at this dude's eyes, bro. Right? You could tell he's done some deletions. You could tell he someone like this will not think twice to delete you if you pose a threat. Look at them eyes, man. Those are killer eyes, right? You can just look at him. He's earned his way to where he's gotten to, right? And you look at the guys like the Tates who willingly join an organization ran by a guy who have no problem taking them out. That's insane.
In police records as being the organizer of the family. We also see his photograph right here. Now, this kind of leads us into his relationship with Andrew and Tristan and why they are no longer working together. Now, we can confirm that they are no longer working together because there is actually a letter that I got a hold of from the lawyer of the family. Now, this is from the Rise Project. The Rise Project did a story on Andrew and Tristan Tate. In section number 5, they ask if they are involved in the Tate family anymore. And they say that we are no longer in business with the Tate brothers, or not anymore. We do business with the Tate brothers. So they confirmed that they previously did do business with them, but they are no longer involved. So what happened? What went down? Now, there were a few things that happened. Firstly, they started to get some more heat. Now, this is an article from a Romanian publication where somebody won $125,000 in a Las Vegas branded casino in Romania. And what happened is this guy won 125 grand, as you can see in this video, and very excited. And then we don't actually see it in the video, but he was not awarded the money according to reports. You can see an employee stepped in here, and then actually they unplugged the machine. So that was
crazy. Yo, chat, that's actually wild. So you're telling me Tate ran an operation like this in one of his casinos? Well, people just win money, in a legitimate way, but we don't pay out, right? And honestly, it's par for the course. A lot of these casinos, right? I mean, you're not the house wins. What do you think that that saying comes from, right? You're not. I mean, in legitimate casinos, they'll allow you to win big because a lot of them they got the money to handle the action, right? But some of these rinky-dink casinos that the Tates were managing. And I'm sorry, bro. You're looking at those casinos. I mean, they look like one of those Dollar Street corner, vacant lot malls or whatever it is, right? So again, that casino doesn't seem like they can pay out $125,000 win, right? Hell, for all we know, that whole casino, its whole point was to be set up as a money laundering ring, right? For the bosses, not to pay out money to the the customers that come in to use it, because the customers don't matter, right? So again, it just goes to show you the dirty business that these guys get into, and then the Tate brothers want to cry and talk about why y'all coming after me, because they know you got mob ties. Right. And honestly, look at the scenario we're in right now. Right. Tristan Tate's out on bail. With the new charges Tate's got, Tate has to stay under house arrest. Right. Tristan Tate has the freedom to move about. Tate has to stay on house arrest, mainly because of the, raping of minors. Right. So that's pretty serious. But who do you think those other guys, that was part of the Tate organization, Georgiana and the other Luana, whatever the fuck her name was, right? Who do you think they're going to pin the blame on and flip on, right? Including Tristan. I'm putting him in that boat too. Well, they're gonna flip on the boss, right? And the boss in this case is Tate. Now, what if the Romanian government, they come to Tate and say, hey, listen, all right, listen, we got to extradite you to the UK anyways, okay? You don't want to do a long time prison here in Romania, right? You don't want to do jail time here. No. See, listen, we can give you less time than you're facing, because Tate, these are some serious charges. I mean, you're raping minors here. You're trafficking minors. You're tax evasion, money laundering. So we can make most of this go away if you tell us, what you need to tell us about these guys. Right? Doesn't that how that works? Isn't that how that works, right? You play the game to get to the big fish, right? Because clearly these guys, I mean, they're the big fish. They have a stranglehold on casino chains all over Romania that I'm sure a vast majority of them aren't paying taxes to the Romanian government. So the Romanian government has a vested interest in taking down these brothers. If they can do it through Tate, why not? Right. So again, it's just one of those things where why get yourself involved in a situation like this with people like this explicitly?
That was the first little blow. They started to get a little bit of heat from this. They didn't give out the prize money that was promised. And then a little bit later, there was a major DCOT raid where they raided 123 different people. But they were raiding these guys because they said they were applying different forms of blackmail to representatives of some commercial companies. They had different security guards whose role was to recover the large profits obtained in their halls, and had to scare the competition so that they would not open their halls or close the ones that they had next to those at the network. And essentially these guys were going around like thugs, and they were basically saying, hey, give us your winnings back or else we're going to beat you up. Now, this is in English here. I had to put it in a Word document, but the original article is in Romanian. I will link it in the description down below if you want to read up on it yourself. But essentially,
that's another thing the Tater Tots say. They say, oh, well, you can't trust Google translation. All right. So see, the media is always lying. So is Google. You can't trust the translation. Right. That's what they said about the indictment report, because the indictment report was written obviously in Romanian language. So a lot of these guys were like, oh, it's not real. How can you trust the translated reports? I mean, come on. You can't trust the translated reports. It's translated through Google. It's the Matrix. Again, you cannot expect the Tater Tot to actually do the research on these. They're not going to do it, right? This is why they don't even know this is happening right now. And they don't realize that their favorite influencer, who desperately wanted to be Jeffrey Epstein, is about to get Epstein the moment they lock his ass up in prison. I mean, do you not think that those Romanian mafia bosses not have foot soldiers in prison right now? Do you not think that these mafia bosses that have a stranglehold on Romania and their casino and the gambling infrastructure there, you don't think they have foot soldiers chilling in multiple different prisons scattered about the fucking country? You don't think they're that smart enough to have foot soldiers there, right? Again, it's just one of those things where the Tate brothers, you don't know what kind of shit you've dug yourself into. Right. So this is why they're so scared to go to prison there. And honestly, I think them getting extradited to the UK is a better option for them than them just staying there. That's why, and I know we're speculating here, right? But I could foresee a deal happening where if Tate can give up some kind of information on serious dealings on the mobsters, right? They can potentially give Tate an easy time in Romania. And right after that, they pack him up and ship him to the UK to face his justice there. But I would think that he would much rather prefer facing justice in the UK than dealing with these Romanian thugs in prison. Come on. You're gonna sit there and tell me these mobsters don't have mob ties in prison? The Tates are frightened. Look at Tristan Tate every time he comes out of that courtroom, right? And things are not looking good. He's frazzled. He's done, right? He's looking at Tate like, hey, bro, I'm about to snitch. I'm about to tell, bro. Right? He's giving that look every time he comes out of the courtroom because he doesn't want to go back to prison, right? Or jail. When y'all were in jail, y'all were begging to get out. Tate faked like he had lung cancer. Didn't he fake that? He faked the lung cancer to get out, right? I got a spot in my lung. They found a spot. I got to get anything. He was getting torn up in there, and that was just jail. Wait till you go to prison, and these mobsters get a hold of you. You play these stupid games just for internet clout. You win these stupid prizes.
Eventually, we started to see some heat. Now, here's a really interesting part of this. This scandal happened in November 23rd, 2022, just a month before Andrew Tate was initially arrested for human trafficking. Now, there's actually speculation that some of the members of the crime family cooperated with law enforcement and provided evidence against Andrew Tate. And there's further speculation that the reason these guys were raided in the first place was to try to collect evidence for Andrew Tate.
Boom! Listen. And who knows? Like, again, the only thing that could save these mobsters, or at least the big guys, right? Again, first of all, the big guys, they're already out of the country, right? One of them was swept up in these raids. They were swept up in a raid, but they end up figuring out a way to get themselves out. And I'm not surprised. They're big-time bosses, so it makes sense they got out. And the moment the other brother got out, he fled to Dubai. The one brother was already in Dubai, I think, but they couldn't get him, right? But again, they raided these guys, these mobsters, right? We're just speculating here, but it seems as though the whole reason they did that was to try to find more connections with the Tates. And these raids were going on around the time Dicot's raids were going on the Tates. Actually, it was a second raid. After the second raid is when they started to get raided, because I'm sure they found something on the first raid, right? And they found something. They found something serious. What is it? He got raided 3-4 times. I mean, he just keep getting raided out here, right? So again, they're looking for that connection with Tate to the mob, right? Now, if the mob were smart, and here's what I think. They probably looked at Tate as the peon, the junior partner, right? That kid with the dunce cap they put in the corner and said, okay, you pay us money. Oh, okay, whatever. But I think maybe they let him in on, he knew a little bit, right? But the bosses probably kept him at a distance. Now, where the boss has to worry about, right? The boss has to worry about what the captains and the underlings who were the attachment to the Tate organization, he has to wonder what they said and what the Tates may have on them. Because, again, a captain or a foot soldier oftentimes are not as careful as the crime boss, right? So, again, it kind of makes sense that they raid hundreds of these houses, right? Even some of these mobsters, they're going after to see. Again, if the Tates don't realize that they put themselves in a serious predicament here, I don't know what else to tell you.
And his actual prosecution. Now, obviously, that's just hearsay. It's hard to confirm whether that happened or not. You would have to be inside the interrogation room. But the timeline is very interesting, that it happened just a month before Andrew Tate's arrest. Now, this kind of lays the groundwork for why this relationship started to sour. Essentially, it sounds like things just got too hot in there. There was too much heat around this casino, and there were starting to be too many controversies. And with Tate's rise to fame and power and success, it seemed like this family didn't want so much drama on their hands. I mean, let's be honest, the Las Vegas casino that Tate was running was causing them a lot of trouble. and his online presence probably wasn't helping either.
Double
Now,
whammy.
we actually have one more piece
Like,
to this.
what are you talking about? Like, and that's a double whammy, right? His casinos weren't making money, and on top of that, they were also a problem. So off the bat, they weren't even like the mobsters weren't even getting anything out of this deal working with Tate. It's like this guy's a blabbermouth. He's yapping all over the place about the crime stuff, and on top of that, you know, his casinos that he's running is causing us problems. They're not even paying out. They're broke. Like you're running the least successful casinos in Romania on behalf of this mob, and then you're causing problems for them. My goodness, bro. Shit, let's get it. Let's continue.
The story. What we see is actually what the family is working on now. It seems like they have kind of shifted their focus away from the casinos. Like I said, they've started shutting down a lot of these, and they're starting to expand into more legitimate businesses. This happens a lot with crime families. After they reach a certain size, they actually just start to go more into legitimate businesses.
Why couldn't the Tates get a better mansion than what they got? Huh? I'm sorry, the top G's and the best you can do in Romania is a renovated warehouse. Is that it? The top G's. That's the best you can do, a renovated warehouse. Look what these guys are doing. How are they getting? I mean, goddamn, that's a nice ass mansion. You telling me the Tate brothers in all of Romania, the best they can do with $6 million was a renovated warehouse. They couldn't buy something like this. Come on, bro. Come on, that's crazy.
And I found this Facebook post from just around a month ago, August 28th, 2024. And here we see a reporter who says that the guy here, the boss of the family, is working on a massive new stadium that's going to be essentially a complex for various different sports. And it's just going to be kind of a community center in general.
The government's not touching him. I changed my mind. Hey, Romanian government, they're not touching him. He got way too much power. What? No way. That's like John Gotti, if he was still alive in today's time, getting permission and the permits to build a stadium. John Gotti, everybody knows. Like, or who's a former mobster that's still alive right now? Like Joey Merlino, right? Like we know Joey Merlino, right? If Joey Merlino, that's like if him right now, the guy doing DJ Vlad podcast, right? Who was a former crime boss. That's like him with all this money coming out and saying, hey, you know what? Let's build a homeless shelter right over here, right in the middle over here. Yeah, we'll build and the government just gives him the permits. And that's assuming he was still under, working with the mob and shit. That is ridiculous. That means you have such an insane amount of fucking power as a criminal. You're practically at an untouchable level. I'm sorry, but a mobster, a known gangster, commissioning large-scale projects, it has to be done with state permission. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. If I was the Tates, I would be scared. I would be scared. I would be scared because this means that this guy has a lot to lose. They're going legitimate. He has a lot to lose. All right, we're not with the casinos, but this casino guy might be the Andrew Tate guy. He might cause us problems, right? A guy like that has no problem getting you in a federal prison. A guy like that in his country, you're in his country. He got no problem reaching out and touching you in the most highest, secure, maximum prison you could find. He has a vested interest in keeping you silent. I'd be scared. I'm sorry, bro. I'd be terrified.
And this is not exactly the type of thing that you want to be involved in the underworld. You want this to be more of an open and family-friendly environment. And so that is why essentially they have decided to start to distance themselves from the Tate brothers and from the organized crime head.
I think they did that a while ago, right? But I think now the fact that their lawyers they're pointing that out, it's coming from their lawyers. The mobsters' lawyers are saying, hey, these guys in the Tates, X-nay on the X-nay, that's not a thing, right? So it just shows you that the mob family, they're trying to go legit, right? They're out of that, the young phase of grinding it out in the underworld. And now they got enough money to make it in the legitimate world, right? This right here causes problems because DICOT is still a federal agency. They still have a vested interest in taking that man down. I mean, just like Rudy Giuliani, it's no different. If Rudy Giuliani, let's say hypothetically, if we lived in a different world, parallel universe, Rudy Giuliani failed to fully go after the mob, right? That's essentially the Romanian situation, right? So again, there are prosecutors there that know for a fact they would win big. It'd be the highlight of their career if they took down the biggest crime boss in Romania. They're pretty much made for life, right? If they can find that little hole, right, even through the government corruption, and take down the biggest crime boss in Romania, they're winning. So what does a crime boss has to do to protect it? Listen, if any information the Tates might know that could expose them in a way that could hinder their plans, the Tates are gone. Okay, this is why I think they don't want to spend as much time in a Romanian prison, because they're looking at a long time. Any of you tater tots out there that are sitting there, living in la la land, thinking, oh, the Tates are going to get out, they're going to be fine. You need to go read that indictment report. He's looking at a laundry list of charges. We're looking at 30 years. At first, I thought 30 years was the maximum, 15 to 10 was the minimum. It's looking like 30 years might be the minimum. But part of me thinks the Tates are going to do whatever they can to not serve that massive sentence they're going to be looking at. And what does that involve? Taking down a bigger fish that's even bigger than them. Why take me when you can get rid of your problem right here? I got shit on them, right? And again, it's not the bosses don't have to worry about their direct connection to the Tates, right? It's the underlings that you got to worry about, because sometimes the underlings would say things, and Tates are really good at manipulating people. So who knows what they know, right? Of course, if you get in a business like this, you're going to look for security guarantees, right?
Lines in general. Now, I'm sure they're still involved in some things that are part of the crime underworld, but I think that they want to keep a much, much lower profile while they get permits and while they get their construction underway for this massive, massive new project. It's clearly going to need investors and a lot of relationships to go the right way in order for this project to be successful. So this is everything I could find relating to the DMS crime family and their relationship with Andrew Tate. It seems like the relationship just outgrew itself, and eventually the crime family actually had to move on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, shout out to this brother, right? But here's the thing. I think that for them to move on to bigger and better things, this problem that with the Tates, that's becoming an even bigger problem, that needs to figure out how to go bye-bye, right? Because again, like you mentioned, going legitimate is a serious operation for a criminal family, because you have to actually deal with legitimate people. You have to get city permits, you got to get contracts. Now, instead of just extorting people to get money, you actually have to work and partner with investors, right? You got to go do the whole collaboration thing, right? So it's a different mode. And a lot of people, especially in the legitimate world, your intimidation and your reputation can only get you so far. You got to be able to learn how to grease a few palms, right? But if you have an indictment or one of your former crew members facing a massive indictment that has the capabilities of pulling your reputation further down, even though you want to make a low profile, of course you have a vested interest in taking that out. All right. And if you're a mobster that has the political power, right? Because we haven't seen this kind of stuff since the days of I forgot old dude's name, right? But we haven't seen this kind of activity since those guys, right? Where they're outright just buying politicians. So you got to be on that level as a gangster to be able to start commissioning like these big scale projects, right? So you don't want these little problems like the Tates. So I think the Tates, it's going to be a bigger problem, because again, you're going to have prosecutors there who clearly are not going to be bought, some of them, and they're going to want to go after the Tates, right? And not only the Tates, but let's see how far we can go. You already have the media or the media apparatus there in Romania. They're already talking about the the mob links, right? The mobster links, right? They're talking about that, right? So again, I'm going to see with more media pressure that you're going to see with the journalists, especially how outraged they are with this Tate thing. They're going to want to see how much of the mob was involved with the trafficking, right? Because who knows, this could be right up their alley. They want to see how far this shit goes, right? So, and I wouldn't doubt that the mob had a hand in that too, right? I wouldn't doubt that some of the proceeds from this trafficking went to the pockets of the big boss, right? So again, the more the Romanian media is pushing in on this Tate, and Dykot is cruising in and looking in through some of the files of these mafia guys, all right, I think you're gonna get some guy out there. They're gonna say, "Listen, what do you want to do? Huh? Do you want to do 30 plus years in a Romanian prison? Listen, we could try to protect you. We got prison guards, but some of those prison guards could be bought. We don't know, right? Do you want to do that, or do you want to help us stop the guy? Because you know you're gonna do some time, right, Tate? Okay, listen. Do you want to help us stop the guy that could potentially have a vested interest in knocking you out right here and just taking you out and Epstein you, right? And I'm sure the Tate brothers are going to opt for the latter. They're probably going to, do whatever they can to stay safe and protected in Romania until they get extradited to the UK to face charges there, right? And I think the criminal, they're going to bring criminal charges on them in the UK, but for right now we're looking at concrete civil charges. But again, this is what we're looking at. So when the Tates are playing this game with the media, you got to understand it's crazier and the stakes are a lot higher than these guys are making it out to be. When you see Tate out there on the media lying his ass off, talking about the Matrix is after him, all of this is a lie. He is literally lying for his life because he's going to get locked up in there. And if he doesn't make deals, some people are going to get him. Okay. And he already talked about being extorted in there before and people coming at him and stuff like that. It's going to get even worse. Okay. Now that you're there for 10 plus, 30 plus years, they're going to take you for everything. Okay. You'd be lucky if they don't take your life too. Right. So again, this is the consequences of chasing fast money only to deal with slow problems. It is what the fuck it is, bro. But shout out to you guys for being here. I appreciate y'all being here. Don't forget, let me know what y'all think about all of this. I think absolutely the Tates are in shit deep. I don't know why you would decide to go partner with mob organizations. I think you're fucked, right? What do you guys think? What do you guys think, right? Duke, is this too far-fetched? Oh, come on, Duke. This is such a far-fetched theory. I mean, yeah, they found mob ties, and yeah, they're looking through the hard drives of some of these mafia guys, right? But I mean, it doesn't mean that the mafia bosses are gonna be interested in taking Tate out. Maybe they just see him as this little fry on the wing, right? Tate can't possibly do anything to hurt the powerful mob bosses. Okay, fine. Maybe it is far-fetched, but for me, what I think when I hear this is if the Tates are able to compromise someone like Candace Owens, all right, they can compromise a low-level captain of a crime family to divulge information about certain crimes, about certain locations of bodies, about certain extortion rackets, about certain things that they've heard from certain captains that are bona fide tied to the boss. I'm sure the Tates may have recorded that. I'm sure the Tate may have, have some files on that, right? You never know. But to me, what I think, if they can compromise Candace Owens, they can compromise a mafia boss or not a boss, a captain or a low-level foot soldier. They can do that, okay? So that's why I think the Tates are extremely worried, and I go with option B, okay? Option B, the Tates are fucked. They don't want to go to prison because they're fucked, okay? It is what it is, right? Whatever insurance plan they hope they got, it better be enough to get them out of Romanian prison soon enough. But shout out to you guys for being here. Y'all let me know what you think in the chat, and I'm going to catch you guys on the next one. Oh, shit, I forgot.
But ass.